And I promised you a few classes ago we'd dive into this book, The Annals of Gullibility. And we're going to do that today, and you're going to see some similarities to some of the stuff that we teach in our classes. Great information. So hook, line, and sinker, investing, gullibility, and investing in life, what every investor needs to know. So before we get into the book, I want to show you a quick video on why we need to keep our guard up for ourselves and pay attention to details.
I like to think of our mind kind of working like a watchtower. If you want to get by the tower, you have to get by the guard. But the guard, if he's not paying attention to the surveillance systems and the inputs that he has, then he can be suppressed. And I think that's what happened when I'm working. I'm trying to get people not to pay attention to what their eyes are telling them or what their ears are telling them.
Now you have nothing in your hand besides just the watch you're wearing.
Yeah.
Now do you think it's possible for me to steal that watch without you knowing? That's good, because if I told you, that'd be rather foolish for me to do before I tried to do it. Make my job a lot harder. Now, what time do you have right now?
Got 11:03.
Okay, so instead of taking your watch, I'm going to give you something of mine. I'm going to try to steal it away from you. This is mine. It's worth about $50. It's a silver coin. Squeeze it in your hand. Does it feel like it's in your hand?
Yeah.
Would you be surprised if I could take it out?
Yeah.
Good. Open your hand. That's the easy way. Don't make it easy for me. Make it hard for me. Hold your hand up a little bit higher, just a little bit flat like that. Watch it kind of close. So you see it goes straight away. It's back on his shoulder again. Do you see it on your shoulder? We'll keep on doing this till you catch it. You're almost there. Try it again. One last time. Squeeze it very tight inside your hand. Squeeze firm. Don't pull my finger. That's a different trick. I've seen that one before. It's back on your shoulder, bro. The other shoulder. It's not there, is it, ma'am? Is it? Show him it's not here. Open your hand all the way. Step back a little bit so he can see. See, you have to watch close. Put your other hand on top for me, would you? Put it flat on top. You see the coin right there? I'm going to put a shade in between. You have to watch close. It's not there yet. It's more about the timing. This is going to happen in less than 3 minutes. It's going to go in between your hands. Do you feel it now? Watch it close. Here it goes. 1, 2. Did you feel it? Open your hand. Well, I guess we ended up with a watch instead, didn't we? And that was less than 3 minutes. I think I told you about this, didn't I?
This guy.
You can take the watch along with a big round of applause from all your new fans. You're awesome, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So he told him he was going to steal his watch, and he said he couldn't, and he took it from him. We have to keep our guard up. Pay attention to details. We can easily be deceived, even if we don't think we can be deceived. There are many in the financial industry that have ways of making you believe they have abilities that they just don't have. The con men, the sociopaths, the gurus. I added the newsletter writers in here today because we're going to be covering the newsletter writers today. And the prognosticators, they're out to deceive you. I had this quote in the last class, but it pertains to this class too, and it's such a great quote. It said that if you know your enemies and know yourself, you will not be imperiled in 100 battles. But if you do not know your enemies, but do know yourself, you will win one, and you will lose one. If you do not know your enemies nor yourself, you will be imperiled in every single battle. In the last class, we covered the enemies extensively. In this class, we're going to be covering more on the investor's mind. But we're not going to be taking our eye off the enemy. We're going to be combining them in class today. An investor that thinks they can't be deceived will be deceived. Say, I'd never fall for that, right? I'm too smart for that. I'm sophisticated. So, Professor Stephen Greenspan wrote this book, Annals of Gullibility, Why We Get Duped and How to Avoid It. He's got degrees from Johns Hopkins and Northwestern. He's on the faculty of both the University of Connecticut and University of Colorado. He has a PhD in developmental psychology. Would you say that he's sophisticated? Yeah, he even says in his book that he's sophisticated, that he's a sophisticated investor. He published the book, and it was public just days after he made the long list of Bernie Madoff victims. He was a victim of the Bernie Madoff Ponzi scheme. And here's an article at the time. Scam expert from Colorado U expertly scammed. Stephen Greenspan recently wrote Annals of Gullibility only to find himself a living case study. He lost thousands of dollars in the Bernard Madoff scam. In his book, he readily admits that everybody gets duped. Everybody gets scammed from time to time. It's just a matter of degree. It might be as simple as that April Fool's joke, right? So after it was well known that he wrote this book and then he became a victim of a Ponzi scheme, he wrote a lengthy essay shortly thereafter. It was in December 2008. He wrote it for the science journal Skeptic. He called it Fooled by Ponzi and Madoff, How Bernard Madoff made off with my money. And then soon after, it was a popular article, so the Wall Street Journal picked it up as a cover story. Now in there, he talks about non-social situations and why he got duped. And then after that, I'm going to cover the social situation, because there's a non-social aspect and there's a social aspect. So in the essay he says, a non-social situational aspect that contributed to a gullible investment decision was, paradoxically, that Madoff promised modest rather than spectacular gains. Sophisticated investors would have been highly suspicious of a promise of gains as spectacular as those promised almost 100 years ago by Charles Ponzi. Thus, a big part of Madoff's success came from his recognition that wealthy investors were looking for small but steady returns, high enough to be attractive but not so high as to arouse suspicion. This was certainly one of the things that attracted me to the Madoff scheme, as I was looking for a non-volatile investment that would enable me to preserve and gradually build wealth in down as well as up markets. So there's the wish, right? And here's what Madoff promised. This is the wish fulfillment. I'll just get you these slow and steady returns. And this is what he was showing on his fake statements. So Bernie Madoff was satisfying wish fulfillment with empty promises, just like they all do. So that was the non-social aspect. This is the social aspect. All my friends and family, they're getting great returns. They're just getting steady returns. All the other people are getting these market volatility. I want some of that. I don't care who it is or what it is. Just give me some of that.
Bernie Madoff convinced thousands they couldn't lose, and they invested their life savings in his Ponzi scheme. What were they thinking? Sure, some may have been blinded by greed, but there was something else at work here. Deep in the wiring of his victims was that tendency to follow the group.
From other people telling me all good things about Bernie, I mean, he had a great reputation, I had no reason to have any suspicions.
Now they know Bernie was just pushing their buttons.
A real good con makes you feel like you're an idiot for not getting in on this. If you don't do this. If you don't do this, you have really missed the boat.
What do you think about this one?
Social psychologist Dr. Michael Shermer says investors were suckered because Madoff seemed so credible and because they saw people just like them get in on the action.
For a con to work, you want the social signals to be like the mark you're going for. He's dressed like me, he looks like me, he's articulate like me. I want to get a part of that.
Yeah, get me a part of that. So in the Madoff Ponzi scheme in particular, and a lot of other Ponzi schemes, there's a social circle that goes around. Sometimes it's churches, sometimes it's organizations. There was a Jewish community that got bought big time into his scheme.